Crispin, Chapter 9. In the early morning, I climbed back onto the rock to watch for any hunting party that might resume its search for me. Happily, I saw none. Not entirely trusting what I saw, I spent my day in anxious idleness, watching, dozing, searching for acorns and berries for my food. Sometimes I prayed for guidance, as my mother had done, her small cross pressed between my hands. Occasionally, I would say the name Crispin out loud. It was rather like a new garment that replaces an old, desired but not yet comfortable. I tried to guess what the priest was going to tell me about my father. In truth, I feared the worst, that he was an outlaw, perhaps a traitor, or someone exiled from the church, a person to make me even more ashamed of myself than I already was. I even wondered if that was why I had become a wolf's head, because my father had been one. But what I kept pondering endlessly were the priest's revelations about my mother. Though the day seemed to last forever, night returned at last. When it became completely dark, I set out for the village and the church. Though upset, I was resolved to do as the priest had instructed. The sky was clear, a slender moon was in the sky, nothing along the way gave me pause. But no sooner did I draw near the church than a figure rose up behind me. I stopped, heart pounding. "Is that Asta's son?" came a whispered voice. Afraid to answer, I kept still. "It's me, Cerdic," the voice said. Cerdic was a village boy, a little older than myself. Instantly suspicious, I said, "What do you want?" "Father Quesnel told me to come," he said. "I was to say he could not meet you." "Not meet me?" I cried. "Instead, he said you were to follow me." "But where is he?" I said. "And why couldn't he come?" "I don't know." "Why did he speak to you?" I said. "I don't know that either," Cerdic stammered. I stared into the dark. "Where am I to follow you?" "Along the road that leads west," Cerdic said. "Father Quesnel said to say it's the safest way to go." "But he told me I was to go to Goodwife Peregrine's," I protested, "to meet him there." "I told you, he can't." Not certain I should trust the boy, but unsure what to do, I stood where I was. Cerdic moved off a few paces. "Are you coming?" he called. "I need to do as I was told," I said, and set off in the direction of Peregrine's cottage. Cerdic followed. Peregrine was not just the oldest person in her village. She had a special wisdom for healing, midwifery, and ancient magic. The village hag, she was a tiny, stooped woman with a dull red mark on her right cheek, and wayward hairs upon her chin. It was she, no doubt, who had delivered me into this world. Like others, I looked upon her with fear and fascination. The old crone's cottage, like most other Stromford dwellings, was built with a few timbers. It had a thatched roof and a daub and wattle wall. There was a space to either side of the single entryway, which had no door. One side of the space was for her animals, her cow, pigs, goose, and general storage. The other side was for her living. I came through the entryway full of foreboding. An open fire pit lay on Peregrine's side and gave only light. Smoke thickened the air, making the herbs that hung from the rafters look like dangling carcasses. Over the fire sat a three-legged iron pot in which something cooked. The food smells made my mouth water. "Who's there?" Peregrine called through the smoke in her rasping, broken-toothed voice. "It's me, Asta's son." "Is that priest with you?" "It's Cerdic." "Where's the priest? I expected him." "He told me he couldn't come," said Cerdic. He had come up close behind me now. She peered at the boy through the smoke. "Did he give a reason?" "None." Muttering, "Something must have happened," she looked up into my face. Her stench was strong, and I was aware of the mark on her face. "Are you ready to go?" she asked. The priest said I must. "Aye, you're being hunted by many. The steward's offering 20 shillings reward for you." 20 shillings? I cried. The amount was half a year's wages. No one in the village had such a sum. Why should he offer so much? "He wants you dead," she said. "Do you know where the steward will be looking?" I said, very frightened. Cerdic answered, "The bailiff told people he intends to go along the northern road." "Then best go south," Peregrine said to me. "Are there towns or cities there?" I said. "I wouldn't know," the old woman said. "Now draw closer," she commanded. "The priest asked me to provide you with protection. I do it for him, Asta's boy, not you." I stepped forward reluctantly. She reached up and dropped a thong with a small leather pouch about my neck. Then she spoke some words I didn't understand. "Eat this before you go," she said, thrusting a bowl of porridge into my hand. After putting the cross of lead into the leather pouch, I stuffed porridge into my mouth with my fingers. Once done, I returned the bowl. "And here," the old woman said, offering me a bag, "here is some bread. It won't take you far, but it'll take you off." As soon as I took the bag, the old woman grasped my arm with her tiny hand, pulled me to the entryway, and all but pushed me out. "God be with you, Esther, son." She, too, wished me gone. Chapter 10. "Don't go south," Serdic said as soon as we were outside and alone. "Why not?" I asked, trying to push my way disquiet. "It's what I told you. The steward will be looking north. Why should he have said that if he wished to keep it a secret? I think he wants you south. Go a different way." "But which way?" I said. "If the steward says he's looking north, go the way they least expect, west. That's what Father Quinnell said to do." "But that would take me back by the manor house," I said. "The last place anyone would think you'd go." Though I was not sure I trusted Serdic. What he said did make sense. But I said, "I want to go by the church first. Maybe Father Quinnell's there." "You better hurry." With Serdic at my side, I made my way through the village. For safety's sake, I kept away from the road, skirting behind the cottages, moving quietly along the back lanes. Upon reaching the church, I knocked on the door to the priest's room. When no one answered, I went into the church proper. No one was there either. Serdic must have sensed my thoughts. "Perhaps," he said, "he's waiting on the other side of the river. Maybe that's why he said to go that way." Grasping at any hope, I swung round to the road and moved in a westerly direction. Serdic stayed close. Soon Lord Furnival's manor house loomed before us. Light beamed through a window upon the road that ran before it. The light illuminated the boundary cross that I could see the mill just opposite the manor. To see the cross moved me greatly. It meant I was truly about to leave. I hesitated. "It's the only way," Serdic said. He made the sign of the cross over his heart. I peered into the dark, seeing no one but praying that Father Quinnell would be waiting for me across the river. "Keep walking," Serdic said. I took but a few more steps when a beating sound, as if someone were striking a drum, came from behind. Startled, I halted and peered back into the darkness. There was still nothing to be seen, though the drum kept beating. Then I realized Serdic had begun to back away from me. I turned to face the boundary cross again. This time I saw shadowy forms rise up from the side of the road. It was 4 men. They lumbered across the road, blocking my way. "Serdic," I called. When he made no reply, I looked around. He was gone. I swung back. I saw now that 2 of the men were armed with glaives. In another's hands I saw the shimmering glint of a sword. I turned around to see if I could retreat, only to see 4 more men approach. I had been led into a trap.